Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys, how we are different from our competitors. 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus, one-time fee and lifetime access to classes, access to recorded sessions of live classes. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For a free demo class, visit us at h2kinfosys.com.
All right. So today's topic will be mainly on the classes. So we'll talk about classes and what is a class, how to create a class. You guys already know how to create a class. So again, we'll go from the base, how to create a class and how to create methods in that and whatnot. We'll see that right now. Okay. But before that, even getting into what is a class, let me showcase a couple of other things right now. So in previous classes, we actually spoke about all the programs, like all the programs what you see here, array, bitwise operators, data types, blah blah blah. Okay. So if you can see here, all the classes are basically inside your default package itself. Okay, that means if you see open this, you can see something like you don't see any kind of package structure over here. Okay, so but my main objective is I want to push all these files. Let's say I want to discuss about class, so I don't want to right click and say new class. Let's say my first class. Okay, so I can even say this, and basically what happens, my first class gets created here. Now I want to basically differentiate what I'm doing basically. Okay, now as you can know, we have spoken about arrays, operators, jump statements, continue, blah 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 in the previous sessions. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and say new package. Okay, so we'll see a lot more what is the use of package also. I'm just going to give you a very basic introduction of what package is. And moreover, if you can see here, I cannot even create one more class. Let's say you have got already a class as arrayExample.java, and if I want to create one more arrayExample.java, I cannot basically do that. So if I say class and paste this, it says this. Okay, so if I say array example, okay, so it's you cannot basically create the same file basically, because it says you already have something like array example, right? So you cannot create one more file with array example, right? All right, so let me delete this, cancel. So what am I going to do is I'm going to create a new folder structure, and I'm going to push all the files to that particular folder structure. Okay, so let's say I want to create a small file inside a package. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new class, and let's say I'm going to say data type. Okay, so data types, and I'm going to say package name as data types. Okay, so if you can see here, I've given a package name as data types here, and I'm given the class name as let's say data types example. Right, so I want to make sure that all the data types example goes to a package known as data types. So I'm just going to do this. It's all the same. If you can see, this is what you have, and you just extra thing what you're going to add it is yes, the package name here. Okay, so just say finish, and the moment you say finish, you can see inside the source itself a new folder has been created. Okay, and in that folder basically if you can see the file got created. Okay, so that is what you can basically just type in anything, systrace and plus, and this is what, let's say, okay, just systrace. So right click, run as Java application. Okay, so that is what you see here, but the only difference what we have it here right now is the package what you have defined here. Okay, now what are we going to do with all these files, the existing files? We are going to keep these files in a folder. Okay, so for that reason, let's do one thing, because as In the same folder itself, I'm going to create a package known as class, because we are going to discuss about class right now. So we will basically keep every class, every files or every Java files in its own respective folders. Okay. So this is just a base, because I think this will be a good example at this point of to make you guys understand what is a package at this point of time. So I'm just telling you at this point, because down the line when the program grows, we'll see what is the use of package and what all things we have to do in order to access a file inside the package. Okay, so those things I'll not be discussing right away. So slowly I'll be discussing all those things at the later session. Okay, so right click new, let's say package. Okay, and I'm going to create a package here as let's say array. Okay, and let's say array data type, array underscore data type. All right, so I'm going to say finish here, and if you can see, I've created a folder here, or folder or a package here. So I'm going to copy all these files and drag it to its respective array data type folder. Okay, now let me just delete this. All right, even let me
Hello.
delete. Hello. Yes, any questions? I heard a hello from someone. All right, okay. So here, as you see, we have pushed all the files right now, the existing files, into the array underscore data type package. Now, if I open this, I will basically get a uh, compile time issue over here. If you can see, the declared package does not match the expected package array data type. So what we have to do is, I can basically click on the red symbol over here, and I can say here, move array .java to default package, or I can say add package declaration to, sorry, add package declaration array data type. So I'll just choose the first one. So what happened is, the moment I added the package here, my compilation issue is gone here. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me just copy this. I can just copy these only one line of code here. Okay, and push it in all the files. Control V. Okay, so I'm just pasting it right now, and Control V. I'm just pasting it. I'm not doing anything apart from that, because I want to make sure that the classes should belong to a particular package. Okay, so hello world also, I'm going to push it here, push it here, push it here. Okay, I'm all set right now. So let us see if I have any kind of compilation issues. Now there is a tab in the at the bottom over here. Otherwise, if you don't see the tab here, you can just say Control 3, or you can just come to this portion of your Eclipse and just say problems. Okay, so you can just click on the problems here, and basically you can get the tab right over here. Okay, all right. So right now I don't have any compilation issues, because I have put all the files in the respective package right now. Okay, so if you see all the packages, the package name should be proper. I have just only for the name sake, because we were discussing about the arrays and data types in the previous sessions. So I have basically made it as array underscore data type. Usually don't make it as something like array underscore data type. Okay, so what is the naming convention of a package is basically, you, let's say, I'm basically giving you some kind of tutorial, right? So Java tutorial. So what I should do is, I should say right click new package. I should say let's say this is for H2K Infosys. So usually what you see, if I open a notepad, right? So if you want to go to h2kinfosys.com, you say h2kinfosys.com, right? Now the naming convention of a package is for the company for which you work. Okay, the structure should be from the backwards, com.h2kinfosys. Okay, now in com.h2kinfosys, I'm teaching you Java, right? And in Java, I'm basically have taught you about your something like array and data type. Let's say let's keep it in this way, array data type. Okay, So what I'm going to do right now is I'll just say com.h2k infosys, okay, dot, I'm talking about Java. See, I'm just going backwards right now. Com h2k infosys, I'm going to talk about Java. So this is your Java course, and then I'm going to talk about your array data type. So dot array data type. All right. So this is the package structure. Basically, we will be following down the line as well. Okay. So I'm going to copy this and push it in here. So let's see properties. Okay, one sec. Okay, so if you can see here in the same folder structure, so let us do in that way also. Let us, instead of having all these files here, from now onwards, let's use these things. Okay, so as of now, I'm not going to rename it. I'm not going to push it here. So once the class is done, I'll be basically pushing all these files to your array data types here. Okay, now from now, let's use this particular package structure. Okay. Now, as today I'm going to talk about classes, so let's create a package as classes. So what I can do, right click on this com new package, right? So I can just say com dot, okay, I'll just click on this Java because inside this Java folder itself, I'm going to create a package known as classes. Okay, so right click new package. So automatically from the root com.h2kinfosys.java dot classes. Okay, so I'm going to talk about classes today. So I've just created a folder as classes. So how do you create a folder? Just say com dot, that means a folder is going to get created automatically, com.h2kinfosys.java.classes. all right. So okay, all right, so let me just make something like this, tutorial dot java dot classes. Oh no, let me make it something like this. Okay, so I'm just saying, going to say finish here. All right, so this is what I created right now. Let me create a new file here. So new class file, let me give this file name as employee, let's say. Okay, because we will be dealing with a class of type employee. Okay, so from now let me introduce a new class, that is your employee class. So automatically, if you can see here, the package structure comes in picture because you have just right click on this particular folder and right click new and class, right? So automatically the package structure comes up over here. You don't have to type it again. Otherwise, if you just right click on your Java or com, again you have to type in all these things. All right, otherwise you can even browse these things as well. Okay, all right, so let me just give this name of the class as employee. And in the previous classes also, and I have just used the public static void main as the default method which I want to create. Okay, so I have basically created a class, and if you can see the package structure of this particular class, it is something like com.h2kinfosys.java.classes. Okay, now when I talk about something like strings, when I talk about threading concepts, I'll say something like com.h2k.java.threads, com.h2k.java.strings. Okay, so we'll basically differentiate each and every package by the help of the package names, right? Sorry, each and every topic depending on the package names. Okay, so here it's all same. I just need to say systrace space enter and just need to run this, run as Java application. Okay, so I got my output right over here. So this is the way I basically create a package, and inside that package I basically write all my files accordingly. Now what is the main use of package here? Now if suppose I want to say copy this file and I want to create the same file here, you must use a different name, it says, right? So what I'm trying to do is, in the same class itself, I'm just trying to say class, and in the same package itself I want to say employee. Okay, so it says basically the type already exists, so that means in the same folder you cannot basically create two Java files or any two files in your Windows operating system with the same name. Okay, so what I can do, I can basically create a new, let's say we'll create a new right click, new package, java dot classes1, okay, and finish. And here I can basically create a new class file. So I can just say employee dot java, okay. This is not required, so just click on this and finish, right? So if you can see, the package structure for this is classes1 and the package structure for this is classes, right? But if you can see, both the names are same here. All right, so we'll have all this further I mean, this is in general, okay, you don't have to by heart anything. I mean, it's all simple. Any of the operating system, you cannot have two files with the same name. Okay, for that reason, you just created a new folder. But as I've created this particular Java file in this particular package, so accordingly the package name differs here. All right. So let me delete this for now. All right. So
Avast virus database has been updated.
Okay, my Avast virus has been updated. All right, so here, if you can see, we have created a class as employee, right? And we had just have got a main method, right? So for us, this is not simple. I mean, an employee has got a lot of properties in it, right? So a lot of state, lot of behaviors. So let's talk about a couple of things here now. So before that, let me walk through what is a class is all about and how do we create a class. Okay. Now, if you can see this template here, a class is a template for an object. Okay. So we'll talk about object here in practical as well. So a class is a template for an object, and an object is an instance of a class. Okay. So this is a very important statement here. So wherein it says a class is a template for an object, and an object is an instance of a class. Okay, just keep this in mind. We will again revisit this. Okay, class defines a new data type. Now the way we have spoken about different data types like integer, byte, short, int, long, the same way you can define a particular variable or an identifier to a particular data type, right? So for example, here in this case, I'm going to say int, let's say human, right? So I'm just saying int human equals to 0, right? So here, irrespective of the name, which is not correct here, okay, I'm just saying integer human equals to 0, right? Okay, so I'm just saying int human equals to 0 here, which is basically not correct, right? Usually you say int I equals to 0, or int let's say height, right? So you just give a proper name here, right? Now even what I can do is I can even have a data type something like height, right? So I can give a data type to a variable height as height also. So we'll see how to create a class. I mean, this is kind of a class which we can even create it. Okay. So as of now, what I'm trying to tell you here is we are going to create a data type of type employee. Okay. So what I can say here is simply employee. Okay. EMP. Right. So if you can see here, as I have already a class employee and I'm using a variable, okay, the way I can use int I equals to 0, right? I can even say a variable emp, okay, of type employee. Here variable I is of type integer. Okay, that's what it says basically. Class defines a new data type also. So apart from having a lot of inbuilt data types which Java has given to you, you can even have your own kind of data types also. Okay, so depending on what all things you need according to your requirements. Okay, so object and instances used. Okay, so here it says basically whenever I say, if you can see, a class is a template for an object, I will basically interchange saying object or instance. Okay, I mean, usually you let's say if you want to address your mom, you say mom or ma, right? Both are basically same, right? So whatever you can use. So here in this world of Java, you can basically say object or instances. Both belongs to the same thing. Okay. So data or variables defined within a class are called instance variables. So we're going to talk about those things right now. Okay. So how do you basically create an object, right? So this is what you just created a class here, right? So that means you just created a class, and the next question is, what is an object? Okay. So in order to create an object, you basically use something like class. Let's say I'm going to say employee emp equals to new of employee. Okay, so when I say new of employee, at that point of time your object gets created. Okay, so we'll see that. I'll show you the other way out also. So this is what says data or variables defined within a class are called instance variables, and we'll see how to create an object as well. Okay, now it's a typical way of representing how we are going to create our object here. Okay, so if you can see class name and a reference variable. Okay, I'll even give you an example what is a reference variable. Okay, equals to new of the class name. So new allocates memory for an object during runtime. Okay, now here if you can see we have got a class box. I'll show you the other examples also right now. We'll use employee here. Okay, so let us come back to the employee class here. Now if I just declare this particular statement or line number 6, my object doesn't get created, right? Now the moment I say I run this program and you say employee emp equals to new of employee, right? A space basically gets created in the heap. Okay, so let me just open a paintbrush here. Okay, so as in the previous sessions I've spoken about your virtual machine. Okay, in your JVM you will be having a heap memory and a stack memory. So we'll talk about the heap right now, which is more important for us right now. Okay, so here let's say there are two kind of memories here, heap and okay, we'll just talk about a heap right now. So usually whenever your objects or your program runs, first of all your object gets created. Okay, so in your heap there are multiple objects which got created here, let's say. So here in this case we are going to create an employee. Okay, and we are just saying new of employee. The moment you say new, a new object will be created in the memory. Okay, so this is your new memory. All right, so let me just take it in a bigger way. So let's say this is your heap memory. Okay, and in this case a new object got created. So this object is nothing but your new of employee. Okay, so that way I can just create multiple new of employee. So I can just say emp1 and this is your emp2. This is 1, this is your 2. Okay, and I can even create as many I want. Okay, so I just need to say here as 3. Now what basically happens the moment this line number 6, line number 7 and line number 8 gets executed, what basically happens, your 3 objects gets created in the memory. All right, so these are 3 objects which got created in the memory. Why it got created? The reason because you have used a keyword known as new here. All right, so the moment you say new of something, that particular object gets created in the heap memory. All right, so we have got 3 objects right now. So let me, okay, so just discard this, select this, and let me delete this. Okay, so correct. All right, okay, now next is what is the use of creating an object? Okay, so let me just comment these things out right now. So let us be very simple and let's talk about simple things. So I have told you about some complex things, so it will be very easy for you to understand the simple things now. Okay, now when you talk about an employee, obviously employee will be having a name, right? So you say string. Okay, string is again kind of a data type. Okay, which basically holds a particular list of characters. Okay, So there's a question here, packages can be useful when you give access to variables and methods. Yes, this will be, then we'll be discussing about all these things down the line also. Okay, so just stay tuned. All right, so string is also kind of a data type wherein it is the way I say here as int I equals to 10. Okay, or let's say employee age equals to 10, or let's say employee cannot be of 10 years, so let me make it as 20 here. Okay, now the same thing if I say int name, right, name equals to, I cannot say something like name as Rohan, right? So what I have to do is, this is actually of type string, and it says Rohan cannot be resolved to a variable, so create constant variable, blah blah. It gives me a lot of suggestions here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a data type here, or I have to use it in double quotes because I'm using a string here. And again, I'll be getting an issue here. It says type mismatch, cannot convert from string to an integer, right? So this is basically a string and you cannot convert to an integer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a data type that is known as your string, string. Okay, so in our entire Java world, Java career, we will be revolving around this string class. Okay, there are a lot of good things about string which we'll even discuss in the further sessions. Okay, now what I did is I just created a class employee, and I just had an instance variable. Okay, and I just gave it a name to it as Rohan, and I just gave an age as 20 here. Okay, and let me give one more string occupation as, let's say, hardware. Okay, now I created 3 instance variables. I say it as an instance variable. We'll see about local variables. I think I've even discussed about this. And if you can see, if I have declared anything inside the method, okay, these things belongs to a class. Okay, these things doesn't belong to this method. Okay, now if you see emp1, okay, this is a local variable for me. Okay, if I say int j equals to 30, right, so this is a local variable for me. Right, so we will even talk about the class variables down the line also. Okay, for now just try to understand what is a instance variable here. Now I have created employee, right? Let's say I say int salary, okay, equals to let's say 2000. Right. So this is all about your instance variables, right? So how do I access this variable? I can, if I want to access this variables, systrace, right, and plus okay, let me even remove this right now for this. Now I cannot say something like age directly, okay, because age belongs to a class. Okay, now I cannot access the instance variable age directly from a method in this way. Okay, unless and until it is a class variable. Okay, now if you can see, there is a compilation issue here, but if I make this as a static, okay, see, the compilation issue is gone here. Okay, just remember this keyword as static here. When you use static, and if it is inside a static variable or static method, then only you can access it directly. Okay, so let's not even discuss about this right now. Okay, now what is the way I can access the value of this particular employee? Okay, so I can basically say emp1 dot age. All right, so what is basically happening here is when you're creating an object employee here, okay, so that means you have already created, let us first run this example and show what it is. Run as Java application. Okay, so if you can see, you have when the moment you create this class, okay, So what happens basically, you create a age, salary, name and occupation as a property here, okay, or I just say as a state basically, or an instance variable, okay. So I say age, right? So this is my age, this is my salary, this is my occupation, and this is my name, let's say. So when I say when I create three instance variables here, let's say I'm creating only two here. So employee 1 and employee 2. So in order to access my employee 2's age, I can just say employee 2 here. Okay. So if you can see, I created two objects basically. The same replica goes here. So if I copy this, okay, and sorry, and paste it here. Okay. So I have got two instances which has got the same age equals to 20, salary equals to 2000, Rohan and hardware. So here if you can see, I've got created two things here. Okay. So if I run this, run as Java application, you basically see the value as 20 and the value is 20 here. Okay. Now if you see one more thing here closely, watch here closely, I am going to say something like if you remember in the previous sessions, if I say something like int I equals to 20, and if I say systrace, okay, and I say plus I, and you get the value of I as 20. And in the meantime, if I, okay, let me just run this, right click, run as Java application. Okay, so you get the value as 20, and you even know that in the meantime, if I change the value of I equals to 90, and I'll be getting the value of 90 right over here. Run as Java application. Okay, so that is what you see it right over here. Okay, now we'll do the same kind of thing in using your object what we created. Okay, so how do you create an object? Whenever you have to say new of that particular class with open curly open bracket and your close bracket. Okay, that is important. So as if I just print this, I'm going to say that the value of the first class, your this, let's say emp1, and this is your emp2. So emp1 and emp2, both for both, the value is 20, right? So emp2. Now let me do one thing. Let me again print the same thing, but before even printing, let me do something here. Age equals to 30, right? Now let me run this, run as Java application. Now you see the employee 1, the first age was 20, and the second I assigned a value of 30 to the age, right? And again I printed the same thing here, right? But see, if you can see here, when I said emp1.age equal to 30 and I printed the value of 30 here, but still the employee 2 age remains the same, right? It is your 20 here, right? So let me give a lot of spaces here, run as Java application. Okay, okay, so you see as 20 here, right? Now the question may arise, you have assigned the value emp1 as age equal to 30, this change, why this one did not change? The reason, because you created two objects, right? Employee 1 and employee 2, right? So in this beautiful diagram, as you can see, I have created two ages, two objects, and each object has its own properties. Okay, even though you change any of the property in your any of the one object, okay, the property basically will not be changed for the other object, because these two belongs to two different spaces in the heap memory. Okay, so it is something like I am present somewhere and you are present somewhere. Okay, any effect to me will not affect you. Okay, so these two are having two different memory addresses as well. So any changes to any of the properties, so when I talk about property, I say about all these things. Okay, this is my state, so if I change any of the state here, it will not even affect the other object, right? So let us go back to the example. All right, so now instead of let me do the same thing for your let's say company ID. Okay, so now let me go with the same thing here. Age. Okay, so as you saw here, I have created two objects. For this object I have changed the age here. It was initially 20 and I just made it as 30 here. Okay, and as you saw, this was changed, but this did not change because this belonged to your employee 2, right? Now instead of integer integer age equals to 20, I'm just going to give one more keyword known as static. Okay, now let's gonna see what's going to be the output right now. Okay, now let me do a couple of other things here. So let's say employee 1 plus emp1 dot salary, so it will give you the suggestions automatically, you don't have to type in anything. And this is going to be emp1 dot name, right? And then plus emp1 dot occupation. All right, so that's what I have it here. The age, salary, name, and occupation. Let me just copy this and paste it here. Okay, and the same thing, let me paste it here, but let me just change the name to 2 here. Is anyone who is not following, please ping me in the chat. Or you can just unmute yourself and ask questions as of now. Okay, all right, so if I don't make it a static here, let me run this again. Run as Java application. So I'm just getting 20. I have changed the age as 30, so I'm just getting as 30 here, so it's well and good here, right? So for the employee 1, this is employee 1, employee 2. Okay, so I'm getting this will be employee 2, sorry for that. Run as Java application. Okay, now as you saw, the age here it differs because it is 30, it is 20 because I have added one intruder here, right? Now let us do one more thing here. Let me make this as static. Now let's see what's going to be the result now. So run as Java application. Now this was 20 age. The moment I change something here, it reflected to the next line, as well as it reflected the employee 2 also. Okay, do you see that? Right now, how it is happening basically and why it is happening. Now we have spoken about 3 kind of variables, right? Instance variable. This is my instance variable because this belonged to a particular instance. Now as you can see, initially when I didn't make it as static here, even this, the age was only belonging to this particular object or this particular instance. Do any changes in this age, it will not even affect this age, or it will not even affect your this age. Okay, the same thing goes for other variables also. These are all instance variables because these variables belongs to a particular instance. Okay, so these variable belongs to a particular instance. Now as we have even spoken about local variables, any variable just inside the method is your local variable. Okay, now it's very important to understand what is your instance variable and what is a class variable. Okay, now as I given as integer here and I'm given given it as static here, right? So what basically happens is this age and age, it actually belongs to a particular class. So it is not, it doesn't belong to a particular instance. Okay, so this is out from here, this is out from here. Okay, it is somewhere in the memory, which is, it actually belongs to the class. Okay, so if you create an instance of the class here, the way we have created an instance of your employee 1, and we just printed this, and I did some changes on that particular age. When you make this changes on the age, and your age is static here, right? So if you make any changes here, this will be reflected to all the other guys. Okay, even if I make this as employee 3, okay, so here it is going to be sys out, and it's going to be emp3 plus emp3 dot age. Okay, so if I just run this, I know that Java application is going to be 30 here. Okay. Any questions, folks, from anyone?
Jairam, so when you say static, the age that you said static, is it still a class variable, an
Yes.
instance variable?
No, it's a class level variable. As I said.
Okay, so will it still be in heap? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So here, yeah. So in your real-time application, okay, we have to be very much particular about where, I mean, what kind of variables you're going to use it here. Okay. Otherwise, this, if you use a static variable, and you tend to basically have a lot of issues when you use a static variable. So use a static variable, you have to be very much particular about this. Okay. Now, next thing, right? Now here, if you can see here, I created a class here, right? After creating an object, I can basically say, okay, because I'm creating 3 different employees. Let's say I'm creating 2 different employees here, and I want to say emp1 dot name, right? Because I want to create 2 different employees, so I'm going to say something like name equals to Rohan, and this is equals to Rajesh. Okay. Now, my objective is to create 2 different employees. So, and in the previous example, when I created employee, both the names were same, because this was your instance. I mean, I was just, the moment I was creating this variable, I just initialized this variable. Okay. That is basically not a good practice. So what I'm going to do is right now, so let me just remove this. Okay. And instead of having this here, okay, I'll just create, so it doesn't matter how many semicolons you give it here. Okay. All right. So instead of that, let me just create a skeleton of this particular class. So I created a skeleton of this particular class by not giving any values to it, so that it is typical a class, and I can basically play around the class by doing something like this. Okay, so when I say employee 1, I say employee 1 dot name, employee 1 dot age as 20, so this emp2 dot age equals to 30, right? So accordingly, I can even say something like, okay, let me just add that emp1 dot salary equals to 2000, and emp2 dot salary equals to 1000. That's a 300. Okay, so this is a typical way. I can even say, let me even get rid of this. Okay, right click, run as Java application. Let's look. Okay, so it is pretty much simple here, but if you can see, we are getting as null here. Why it is null? If you say something like int, okay, I equals to 0, or let's say when we spoke about integer array, so if I say int I array equals to new of int of 5, if even if you want to initialize some value, if I can say int I of 2 equals to, let's say, 23, right? So if you say systrace and say plus and say I of 2, right? And if you say plus I of 1, okay? Now the I of 2 value will be 23 and I of 1 value will be 0, because the default value of an integer is always 0, okay? So right click, run as Java application. Okay, the same way the default value, if you do not give it for a particular object here, right? So string is kind of an class again, right? The way you have employee, so the same way you have string also as a kind of a class here. Okay, so just delete this. So for that reason, as we have not given any value to the occupation here, for that reason we are getting a value as null. Okay, so always for an object, if you have not initialized anything, you will get a null value. Okay, so if for example I say employee emp3 equals to, okay, I don't want to give anything as equals to, and I simply want to say sys out, okay, and emp3. Okay, so here in this case basically you'll get something like your local variable emp3 has not been initialized. Okay, so if I just make this bring it up and make this as static. Now why I'm making this as static, there's a reason behind this. Let me even see that, run as Java application. Okay, so I get this as null basically. All right, now why this is whenever you want to try to access a value which is somewhere which belongs to your let's say I'm going to delete this, okay, and I know that I cannot access this reason. This is a static method, and from inside a static method you cannot access a non-static variables. Okay, now in order to make accessible, I have to even make this as static. Okay, so just remember this as of now. Down the line we'll we have a good amount of discussion on statics and all. Okay, all right, so let me get rid of this as well and get rid of this. Now I just created an employee. I initialized the value name, age and salary, so and so, and I was good here. The same thing I did for employee 2 also, and I was good here, right? Now the point is I don't even like to do these kind of initialization, right? So the moment I create a class, okay, there are a lot of questions here. Can you please add me to your list of students? I am registered with H2K Infosys and repeating this class. Okay, yeah, Mohammed, please send out an email to jairam.h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Okay, if we call the age outside the method, how do you know? You cannot basically call outside the method. Okay, so if it is declared as a constant, then maybe you have to make it a static, okay, in order to access it, okay, inside a static block itself. So we'll see about all the other things, okay, just stay tuned about those things. Age is already out there, so system.out.println will be 20. So in a class it does not give error as int is not initiated if we will not give any value to them. Right, yes. So as it is a local variable, and if you are not initializing, if the question was, I believe, int I, okay, so if I'm trying to access systrace and I will just say I here, it will basically say me that your I is not been initialized. So basically whenever you talk about a local variable, okay, oh sorry, one sec, to everyone, yeah, sorry Mohammed, so just use my email ID as such. Okay, so whenever it is a local variable, so it is your responsibility to initialize it, okay, because there's no point in using a local variable which is not been even initialized. Okay, even I can say I equals to 20. All right, But again, it doesn't matter whether you initialize it in this line or in any of the line. So it is your responsibility to initialize it at least. So if you put it here, again you're going to get the same compilation issue. Okay, so even before using it, you have to initialize it. All right. So okay, my concern here is delete. Okay. So my concern is I do not want to basically do it in this way. So the moment I create an object, right now, it is something like it's let's say you're getting a bike from a showroom, right? The moment you buy a bike from the showroom, you're expecting that petrol should be there in that, right? Gas should be there in that. There is no point. I mean, if the showroom is going to sell you the bike and the gas station is somewhere around 10 miles from here, right? You can do that, but it is an overhead for you, right? So when I talk about a bike and a gas, okay, so it is the same thing here. I'm creating an object, right? And after creating an object, so after getting a bike, right, then I'm running from line 11 to 12 to 13 to line number 1000, and then I'm saying the bike dot petrol equals to, I'm putting around 3 liters of petrol. Okay, now instead of doing that, what I want is, the moment I buy a bike, I should be filled up with some amount of petrol. Okay, so keeping that story in mind, it was not in my mind initially. Okay, it just popped up. Okay, let us create a class as bike. Okay, new class. It's already time, folks. So I'll just take your 5 more minutes. I'll just give you an example. Okay, so bike. So finish, right? So here I know that I'm going to say int petrol amount. Petrol, what is that? Okay, so its amount is not the price here, so amount is the liter. Okay, petrol liter. Let's say I don't want to give any value here, okay, because a person is going to buy a bike from me. Okay, so as I was saying here, bike equals to new bike. In order to create a bike, I have to say new bike here, right? So bike, and then I can say basically bike okay, bike dot petrol equals to I want to fill in for 2 liters. Okay, so I've got 2 liters of petrol right now. I don't want to do this. That's what my main objective of this example, right? So what I want to do is, the moment I create this particular object, I want to initialize this bike with some amount of petrol. So in order to initialize a bike with some amount of petrol, what I can do here is, I can say public bike. Okay, what is this? This is nothing but your constructor. Okay, now we are basically talking about a constructor right here. What is a constructor? Okay, so how do I initialize that? The moment I create a bike, automatically I want to say that the amount of this particular, the petrol in the bike should be of, let's say, 20 liters. Okay, so I'm good right now. I'm going to simply say systrace. Okay, systrace plus, just say bike dot petrol. Okay, so right click, run as Java application. So as many bike you create, it doesn't matter for me. Okay, so I'm going to say this, and let's say this is bike 2, bike 3, bike 2, bike 3. Okay, so this is what I have it right now. The moment I create an object, okay, with the help of the constructor. Okay, so this is your no argument constructor right now. By default, each and every class will be having a default constructor. Okay, so we'll talk much more about constructor in the next session also. Okay, so right now run as Java application. All right, if you can see, the moment I created a bike here, automatically I initialize the value with 20. Okay, so how do I do that? I do it using my constructor. All right, so we'll just stop the session here, and tomorrow we'll talk about how to talk about other kind of constructors. Okay, we'll try to overload the constructor as well, so we'll see those things in the next session. All right, any questions, folks?
Hi.
Yeah.
Jairam, I was not able to attend yesterday's class. Can I get the video of yesterday's class?
Yes, I will talk to the administrator. They'll send you the link for that. Okay.
Okay. And my name is Aparna.
Yeah, you can shoot out an email to me. Okay.
Fine.
You can shoot out an email to me to jairam.h2kinfosys@gmail.com. I have pinged that in the comment chat. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, Keith.
Jairam, I have a quick question. I'm sorry to interrupt. Those videos, the links, are those the ones that you taught, or is it done by like the previous instructors like Neha or someone else?
The videos right now.
H2K Infosys provides world-class online IT training, staffing, and software testing solutions to customers worldwide. H2K Infosys, how we are different from our competitors. 100% job-oriented training, hands-on project work, cloud test lab, resume preparation and review, mock interviews, robust syllabus, one-time fee and lifetime access to classes, access to recorded sessions of live classes. H2K Infosys has won the trust of thousands of students worldwide. For a free demo class, visit us at h2kinfosys.com.